So Jamal Niaz here with the honorary Manc, Costas Mandylor. I love the cap right there.
Sorry, Liverpool.
I did not expect to see you wearing a Manchester United hat today.
Well, I was freezing last night and I went to the stadium and got one.
Nice.
So I'm stuck with it now.
I was going to say you're going to catch a match whilst you're over here, but you don't want to catch a match. We're absolutely terrible at the moment.
Not playing well, and I hope they improve because obviously this team is one of the greatest teams that's ever been involved in football. But it's Bobby Charlton's burial is taking place on Monday, so we'll honour that and then get on with the football, right?
100%. And obviously we're celebrating the genre of horror, for love of horror with Monopoly events. So many icons alongside yourself. You geeking out about being around anyone in particular today?
Look, I've met some unbelievable actors that have been around a long time, and one of them I became friends with, William Forsythe, who's here. You know, Sarandon's here, Billy Worth, and some of the Lost Boys. It's just it's a different way to meet fellow actors. Unless you're working with them, you tend to just sort of ships in the night pass each other because you're always too busy trying to learn your lines and do a good job. But on these, you get to meet people in a different way, and it's I just love the joy of the fans, to be honest.
100%. And there's so many great moments in the Saw franchise that you're part of. I snuck in to watch Saw 3D in 2010, so I must have been about 14 at the time. I had an absolutely epic time, but I think that the films are more disturbing to me as I'm getting older, and I don't know what that says about me. But I'm getting a bit more squeamish as I'm getting older, where I used to love them when I was younger.
Yeah, I think it happens to us. I think there's certain things that don't bother us when we're young, and then when you get old and Father Time starts kicking your butt, you go, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe, oh, that's too much. And, you know, I think it happens, you get a little softer.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want this to sound rude, but like I was absolutely fine seeing your face ripped open by the bear trap in Saw 6 when I was a young kid. Like just coming out of like primary school, essentially. It didn't really faze me, but you know, having met you and developed a sort of friendship over Manchester United, it would hurt my feelings to watch that scene back now.
I can only love you for that.
But what was that scene like to film? I'm guessing having the bear trap on you anyway must have been uncomfortable. It
was rather uncomfortable, and other people have been in worse traps than me. But, you know, when you're fighting to make things look, you know, authentic and real, you just have to suffer through it. And obviously there's different suffering in the world. People go to war, people drive trucks for millions of miles. We all have our little burdens, but, you know, acting is a privilege to me, and whatever it takes, you know, to get the scenes right.
You know, I recall you discussing the exhilarating feeling of watching the fans roar. Was it the Saw 5 premiere in Las Vegas, the Pendulum Trap, where people were just absolutely screaming out the seats when the title credits were rolling?
How did you know that?
I do my research, man.
Oh, shit. Oh, because I've told people that story. I sat there. It was about 3,000 people in the auditorium, and it was the longest red carpet I've ever walked.
Right.
And I was like, this is like, I felt like Elvis Presley, you know, like really like important. Anyway, the pendulum thing, and it goes to black, and the audience went crazy. And it's funny because my mother actually came to the premiere with me, and she was grabbing my hand at the beginning of the movie, and I said, oh, everyone's looking at me, get away. She went and sat with some friends. I said, I'm the killer in Saw, I can't have my mother holding my hand. So it was a funny night, you know, but I'll never forget the reaction. Well, you know, when you see these movies with a real audience, you see the impact they have.
Well, I mean, were you a fan of the franchise anyway? There'd only been 2 films. You came into Saw 3. Saw 3 is where it messed me up. So that was 2007. Got that on DVD. So I was a young guy as well. That's where it got like ultra gory. So what were your thoughts on the franchise up until that point?
Well, to be honest, I'd never seen it. I just had heard that it's been a monster hit. And when I finally met Darren Bousman, when I was pulled into a room with the producers, Mark Berg, he asked me if I've seen him, and I said, I haven't seen him yet. And the director left. I fell in love with Bousman. He's a great guy. He's funny. But I almost lost a job potential because I hadn't seen it. And the producer goes, mate, you're going to say you've seen the movie? I said, well, what if I'm asked a question I wouldn't be able to answer? He goes, you live in Hollywood. You can lie once in a while. Anyway, I didn't lie, but I ended up being a part of 3, and then I behaved myself, and they brought me back for more.
You know, you realised that it was a monster hit anyway, even though you'd not seen them. But did you realise we're going to be sat here today, Saw 10's just come out, and you started on Saw 3?
Yeah, it's funny because the years have gone by a little bit, and there was a bit of a hiatus. But to be called back in, and I thank the producers very much to include me. And now the potential is they might do another one, and you never know what I might have more juice. But I think that it's nice to see that people are reacting to me in this one. Now I can say it now. Couldn't say it before, but when I come on screen, people are like screaming, which is great for me. Yeah. And I thank you all for that. But you know what? Hopefully, I'll be a part of the next one.
I mean, your character was the successor to Jigsaw, to Tobin Bell, and you've had some incredible moments. What's the standout moment for yourself, would you say, across the 7 film? 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10.
3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Well, the standout was getting out of the one trap that I was in when I ripped my face off. Yeah. There's just so many great moments. I just think that not being killed is a good thing.
I mean, it's a strange character to try and empathise with, but as an actor, you've got to empathise, and your character was motivated by the loss of his sister. Right. That's like the building blocks to his insanity that follows and his crazy killing spree that happens. Was that something that you thought, right, that's the most like human thing I need to tap into, probably the most violent story told in recent horror memory?
Yeah, well, look, I just say this, that number 5 was where you see why I do what I do, and you also see why Tobin Bell's character does what he does with his wife losing the baby. So, it gave it the weight and the gravitas and the substance, where it's not just about, horror killings. There's a method to the madness and all that stuff. And if I didn't answer the other part of the question, you can ask it again. But I basically feel like they've done a great job in continuing it. The fans are very devoted because they're clever and they like the puzzles. And that's why it's still around.
Will you go back as many times as you're asked? Because this is going to be... This franchise isn't dying anytime soon. Yeah. The box office results are absolutely nuts, aren't they?
I heard it's gone pretty big again, right? Well, look, I think that actors' dreams are to be in something that's quality, no matter what genre. And I'm a part of movie history with this one, so I'd love to come back.
And the timeline's pretty crazy because the 10th film is set in between Saw 1 and 2. But the last time we saw you, like present day, you was trapped by Carrie Elwes' character in the original Saw 1 room. Now, that's not saying that you died. You might have been saved. We don't know. So you could either come back immediately following Saw 10, or you could do a Saw 7 follow-up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think they're going to follow the track that they're on right now, but... I really do believe there's a magical way to get out of that bathroom, and I can only share it with the producers, otherwise they'll kill me. But that would be great, because I think that would be a coup, and then, chase Carrie's character everywhere and get him.
Oh, I would love to see that film. Final one, if you could see a Saw crossover with any iconic horror character, you place a horror character in sort of one trap after another, like Saw 2, where it was like a fun house essentially, but it was not fun at all. It was like one room, there was a trap and so on. What character would it be?
Oh, gee whiz. I'd love to get involved with the guys that did what's the one that William Forsythe did with all the guys? Remember that? It's quite a big one. What's it called? All the sheriff and that William Forsythe did it. A bunch of actors. I can't remember the name of it. It's escaping me. But I'd love to see them challenge another important, iconic group, let's say.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Well, I really appreciate your time. I know you've had some amazing moments with fans today, and you've got a whole day ahead tomorrow. So I really appreciate the time.
You know what? I want to thank Andy and the team for getting me here, and unfortunately I was going to come back sooner because the pandemic got in the way of everybody. But I love coming here. I love being around the fans, and I just want to thank the team for getting me here, because it was a last minute entry, So I'm happy to be here. Come on, Man U.
Come on. Need to get back in the win column. Come on. Absolutely. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Challenge Angie Postecoglou, my ex-teammate. Oh boy.
Appreciate the time, man. Thanks so much, brother.